I was casually browsing a list of the tallest skyscrapers in the world the other day because, this is what I do in my spare time, when I suddenly wondered what actually counts as a skyscraper. I live in an 11-story building. Surely that's not considered a skyscraper. Looking at the skyline outside, it's pretty obvious that these are skyscrapers, but what's the bar of entry into becoming a skyscraper? Okay, so Wikipedia defines a skyscraper as a continuously habitable high-rise building that has over 40 floors and is taller than approximately 150 meters. Okay, great, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Okay, so no. After doing just a bit more research and even just looking into Wikipedia's sources, you'll find that there is actually no consensus on what constitutes as a skyscraper. It's a relative term whose definition has evolved significantly in the last few centuries. Turns out the building I live in could have been considered a skyscraper. Back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, buildings taller than 10 stories were considered skyscrapers. This made sense since it only became possible to construct buildings that high after the refinement of the Bessemer steel production process and the invention of the first safety elevator around the mid-1800s. The Home Insurance Building in Chicago, completed in 1885, is generally recognized as the world's first skyscraper, as it is the first building to utilize steel girder construction. Structures taller than 10-story buildings, of course, existed before that time, but they required massive masonry bases and often had to be as wide as it is tall, such as the pyramids. But for some reason, people don't consider the Great Pyramid of Giza as a skyscraper, even though it's almost as tall as the tallest building in Belgium. As buildings soared past each other in height continuously throughout the 20th century, which is something that's still going on today, obviously people's standard of what qualifies as a skyscraper has risen. So what's the minimum standard for a skyscraper now? Well, there's no consensus. Some say at least 40 stories, some say 50, some think it should be 100. The reason for this lack of definition is not just that the average height of buildings have grown. It's more so because skyscraper is not actually a technical term used in the architectural industry. Architects, interior designers, and engineers generally utilize the term high building or high-rise building, and while there is no global consensus on those terms' meanings either, they are at least more precisely defined and used by professionals to make design decisions. The International Building Code defines a high-rise building as a building with an occupiable floor located more than 75 feet above the lowest level of fire department vehicle access. Here, where I live in Ontario, Canada, a high building is defined by the code as a building either 18 meters or 36 meters high, depending on the usage type and occupant load. You might think, who cares what counts as a high-rise? Well, it matters because floors above a certain height cannot be reached by firefighting equipment from the ground, and a building above a certain height can have a serious impact on evacuation. And thus, once a building surpasses a certain height, different design decisions have to be made regarding things like egress, fire suppression systems, fire separation, and interior materials selection. I just realized like 90% of my architecture and design related videos have to do with fire. Sorry, it's a really hard topic to avoid. Anyway, even though skyscraper isn't an industry-used term, I still think it's a really important and valuable word because it embodies humanity's desires and ambitions. We've been attempting to reach the heavens for millennia, whether it's the pyramids, Gothic cathedrals, modern glass towers, or these insane kilometer-tall spires. We keep trying to climb higher and higher, and maybe that's why most people don't ponder too much about where the lowest line for a skyscraper sits. They're mostly focused on looking up. Thanks for watching, everyone. So what's your favorite skyscraper? I'll be a traditionalist and accept any buildings over 10 floors. So let me know in the comments, or you can tweet me at ARTiculations_V. And if you enjoyed videos about design and architecture, please consider subscribing. And if you don't want to miss the next video upload, then maybe you want to think about clicking that little bell notification icon. Okay, bye for now.